Jimin is known for his unique, effortless, crystal-clear high vocal tone that cuts through like a beam of bright light and makes you feel every emotion and feeling that he is trying to convey.
Don't leave me, I believe I know when they keep me up, 보고 놓고도 나는 내 뜻이죠, I see it now. 나는 내 뜻이죠, raise on my mind. Wanna give her the world and so much more. Who is my heart waiting for? Go psycho, I take you viral. I go full thrill tonight. This is the show. Make it unforgettable. Get your life worth it. I don't see the energy right now. Even though I'm down, all I want is you. I see it for me, coming close. When I see it, never finish. More than time, but again, babe, I'm still down. Yeah, we limited. Space like slipping someone. Dropping lower than chapter screw. This is how it all begins. Swim. I just wanna dive. Wanna be animals. Maybe we can be animals. Oh, this breath is so heavier. I am singing by myself. Burn on me like the way you did before.
Big Hit actually wanted him to be a rapper at first. Since Jimin joined the group last and had one of the shortest trainee periods ever, the debut days were tough.
너 그때 뭐 랩 배우고 그랬잖아. 아니, 쟤를 왜 랩을 시키냐고. 그러니까 내 자리가 줄어드는 거에 대한 걱정이 아니라 쟤는 노래를 해야 되는데 랩도 못하는 애를 왜 랩을 시키고 있냐고. 노래 시키라고. 이렇게. 그때 당시 나는 이제 신인개발팀이랑 어쨌든 소통을 하고 있던 사람이었고.
얘기를 되게 많이 하셨으니까.
그리고 얼마 전에도 우리 그때 당시에 이제 신인개발팀이었던 사람이랑 며칠 전에 만나서 이야기했거든. 생일이라고. 너 여기 많이 하다 왔어. 옆에서 그걸 지켜보면 네가 얼마나 노력했는지도 알고.
열심히 연습하는 연습생들이 굉장히 많은데 저는 그 방탄의 지민 씨가 단연 으뜸이라고 생각합니다. 근데 지민 씨는 좀 혹독하다 싶을 정도로 스스로를 이렇게 채찍질하는 스타일이었기 때문에
6개월이란 짧은 시간에 또 합류를 하게 되고 매달 어떤 그 불안함 속에 내가 여기서 살아남아야 한다.
그 무엇을 해야 될지를 모르는 게 너무 힘들었었던 것 같고요. 뭐 태영이나 정국이가 보컬 레슨을 받을 때 저 들어가서 구경해도 돼요 하면서 들어가서 참관을 하거나 그때 들었던 거를 혼자 새벽에 나와서 연습하고 있었던 것 같아요.
지민이 같은 경우가 가장 늦게 들어왔어요. 정말 마지막에 들어와서 저랑 아마 한 3개월이나 4개월 정도밖에 오래 있지는 않았는데 그 친구가 제가 봤을 때는 가장 열정적으로 이제 연습을 했던 동생으로 생각을 해요. 왜 그랬냐면 좀 늦게 들어온 것도 있었고 그 당시에 회사가 좀 분위기가 안 좋았어서 좀 그런 부담감이 있었나 봐요. 중압감이 있었을 거고 그래서 더 열심히 하고 사실 제가 노래를 정말 잘하지 않는 편인데도 저한테 와가지고 노래를 엄청 많이 물어보더라고요. 그럴 정도로 되게 정말 열심히 한 동생이었었어요.
Because Jimin didn't get any vocal lessons while he was a trainee and practiced on his own, his first real voice practice was for B-side track in their debut album. Even in the very beginning, when he had little to none vocal training, he was assigned to sing most of the high notes.
너무 차가워 왜 혼자 살아가고 혼자서만 이별 버티고 있어
something that he does flawlessly to this day.
괜찮지 않으니까 제발 혼자 두지 말아줘 너무 아파
Not only does he sing high notes effortlessly, he makes fans weak with his lower register and growls.
해봤다면 돈이 賺도 We go home 돈이 커피 없어 나의 다녀가거나 무정한 우리님만 날 다녀가거나 I when the nights get colder and the rhythm starts to falling behind 더블은 더블해 지날 때마다 서로 반갑게 지나쳐갈 때마다 넌 알지 못했니 너무나도 자주였던 결말이야 자 부산의 바다에 푸른 하늘 아래 디스칼레 시피노가 부서진대도 better 네 꿈을 따라갈래 Break it 무너진대도 뒤로 달아나지만 해봐 So far away, you always far away. 또 다시 반복되는 계속돼 멈춰놔도 거짓 속에 빠져있어. 내게서 떠나줘. 전화가 맘보다 따뜻한 You must come back home. 거칠은 인생 속에 너 돌아박아서 때려놔요. 기기야 기대로 멈구나도 I don't 다시 때려놓을까. 모두 변한다 해도 난 변하지 않겠어. 그냥 내버려둬. 나의 그녀에겐 시간이 필요할 테니까 난 기다려야만 돼.
What makes Jimin's singing so captivating? Part of the allure of Jimin's voice is in its naturally pure and light quality, but ultimately, it's the way Jimin uses his voice that makes it so special. Jimin has an ability to sing even the high notes with a very distinctive, full, and energetic sound. For this, he is often used in ad-libs to bring texture into the mix.
Don't leave me, I'm feeling partially done. 나만치 해봤다면 돈이 transfer. We go hard, 돈이 값이야. 그럴 수는 없는 걸, 숨어야만 하는 걸 주하나. Touch me now. 가림이지 무서워.
Jimin's beautiful background vocals and harmonies tend to make the songs more colorful. Not only is he a lead singer, he's also the main dancer who has to sing with a smooth and stable voice even after a full-on choreo.
Time is such the night. Watch me bring the fire, set the night alight. Well, let me show you, and then we can keep the fire alight. Let me show you, and that we can keep the fire alive.
It's really hard. Many of you may not know this, but to sing live quieter and softer like that and breathy when you're breathless after dancing really hard is very difficult. Much harder than it seems. It's harder than actually belting out a high note because belting out the high note requires a lot of energy. Here you have to actually like tone down your energy, get control of your breathing, and then sing it. It's hard.
Some people truly underestimate just how unique Jimin's voice is and the fact that he's also a main dancer in the group. That's why idols and trainees always struggle when covering his parts. There was a big discussion about this on Chinese TikTok.
为什么 cover 套曲朴智民的 part 会成为灾难现场？
Nice.
내 피땀 눈물 내 마지막 춤을 다 가져가 내 피땀 눈물 그날만 이러는데 내 꿈을 만들어 나 이제 경고해 헷갈리게 하지마 그래서 이러는데 누법을 만들어 나 이제 흥거겨 너 지금 위험해 나를 시험해 나를 시험해 헷갈리게 하지마 왜 이러는데 왜 법을 만들어 나 이제 경고해 헷갈리게 하지마
And a lot of people agree. Even non-fans and casual listeners have discussed how Jimin's voice is why BTS songs can be easily set apart from other group songs. Jimin's voice acts as a watermark for BTS. The difference between BTS and other K-pop groups is Jimin. Honestly, I have never seen any other group where the main dancer has to sing all the high notes. Jimin is so talented. Youngdae, who is a music critic and a member of Korean Music Awards Committee, has said that when BTS is regarded as a sound, Jimin's voice is one of the most important auditory elements that make up the fingerprint and impression of the sound. The Recording Academy has also touched on this. Jimin always made an impression through his elegant dance moves and distinct falsettos, giving an aesthetic flair to all of BTS's releases.
지민은 방탄소년단의 음악이라는 인지를 하게 하는 목소리라는 생각도 들고 그리고 그 팀 안에서 지민의 목소리는 좀 조미료 같은 생각이 들어요. 그래서 딱 들었을 때 노래를 좀 더 화려하게, 화사하게, 좀 더 캐치하게 귀에 걸어주는 그런 역할인데 사실 솔로일 때는 이게 우리가 음식에서 조미료 중요하지만 조미료만 주워 먹을 수는 없는 거거든요. 지민의 솔로는 그래서 그가 가지고 있는 아주 독특한 개성 있는 음색을 어떤 식으로서 펼칠 것이냐 여기에 관건이 있다고 보고 그 작업을 계속 해왔던 것 같아요. 목소리를 가지고 펼칠 수 있는 스펙트럼, 팔레트 이런 것들을 나름대로 펼치고 있다. 그렇게 보죠.
BTS themselves were mortified when Jimin had to sit out from their performances when his chronic neck pain was flaring up.
그때 마셨던 거는 그 쇼에서 진짜 큰일 났었다 진짜. 울 뻔했다 진짜. 나 너무 그 전날 잠을 너무 못 자가지고. 아니 일단 비몽사몽으로 왔었는데.
Okay, so I see 6 members, but there's supposed to be 7. What happened?
There's a Jimin. Member called Jimin.
Jimin, yes,
His
of course.
muscle got seized up before the rehearsal, so yeah, he's on that one. He's all right. So, I know, but you can't beat Jimin today, so. Okay, he's got English.
And even the group's other vocalists, including the main vocalist, struggle to hit Jimin's high notes.
왜 이렇게 진영이랑 지민이 형이 얄밉지? 그 둘 때문에 곡이 높아지겠다 자꾸. 어쩔 수 없지.
찾아낸 이곳에
근데 지민이 형 음역대 왜 이렇게 높은 거야? 엔젤 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 너무 높아. 엔젤.
Highest range. Who can hit the highest falsetto?
지민이 아니야?
지민이가 제일
지민이 너무 월등하게 높죠.
그래서 이번 앨범에 좀 고생 많이 했다고.
우리 팀의 영원한 약간 숙제 같은 거죠. 또 음역대가 있는 친구들이 있고 또 낮은 친구들이 있고 이런 것들을 어떻게 조화롭게 만들어내냐가 사실 BTS 곡을 만드는 데 있어 굉장히 좀 해결을 해야 되는 부분들이 있고 그런 것들을 잘 해결했기 때문에 또 좋은 곡들이 많이 탄생이 됐고.
지민 씨는 그리고 팀 내에서 리드 보컬 그리고 메인 댄서를 맡고 있는데요. 굉장히 아름다운 미성과 정확한 고음 처리가 특징이기 때문에 방탄소년단 내에서 굉장히 고음 파트를 또 많이 맡고 있는 멤버입니다. 방탄소년단 히트곡 중에서 피땀 눈물이 있는데요. 그래서 그때부터 도입부 장인이라는 별명이 붙기도 했습니다. 지민 씨는 메인이 아니라 리드 보컬인데도 불구하고 굉장히 많은 고음 파트를 본인이 가져가서 그걸 소화를 잘 하는 것 같아요. 그거에 대해서도 다른 멤버들, 리더를 포함해서 굉장히 지민 씨의 어떤 보컬적인 역량을 크게 높이 평가를 하고 또 멤버들이 그걸 알아주기 때문에 그만큼 소화를 또 본인이 맡아서 잘 할 수 있지 않나 싶은데 메인 보컬만큼이나 비중이 높다는 게 특징이지 않나 싶은 것 같아요.
Despite all of this, before he enlisted in the military, he took it upon himself to improve his vocals even more and started everything from the beginning, so he could sing more comfortably and not strain his vocal cords.
중간 지점을 찾아야죠. 옛날 것도 똑같이 부를 수 있으면서 스펙트럼을 넓혀야 되는 거니까. 이렇게 가다가는 뭔가 나라는 사람의 성장은 없겠구나라는 생각을 많이 해서 지금부터 해서 또 어디까지 낼 수 있는지도 되게 궁금하고.
보컬을 처음부터 다시 배운 건가?
네. 그냥 안 다치게 부를 수 있고 안정감 있게 라이브를 할 수 있는 그런 걸 중점으로 좀 기초 진짜 바닥공사를 다시 하기 시작했죠.
나 춤 다시 기본기 배우러 간 거라.
약간 그런 느낌이죠. 이제 형 손뽑기 하고 있는 거예요. 옛날로 따지면 리듬 타고.
요즘은 손밖에 안 하더라.
사실 이제 뭐 2개월 반 이렇게 배웠는데 너무 저한테는 큰 의미였고 진짜로
멤버라고 생각하는데
네.
요즘 진짜 말도 안 되게 연습을 하잖아. 거의 매일 나가서 하고 있지 않아?
그냥 딱 느낀 거죠. 뭐가 부족한지도 알고 그리고 예쁘게 봐주시는 건 감사한데 이제 그동안 해왔던 노력들이 물거품이라는 얘기는 아닌데 그러니까 정확히 방법을 알고 노력을 해야 되는데 좀 헛수고도 많이 하기도 했고 그런 뱅뱅 돌아서 이제야 좀 제대로 된 연습을 시작한 것 같아요. 기본적인 것들을 참 안 하고 뭔가 급급했다는 생각이 많이 들었던 것 같아요.
나는 어릴 적부터 난 너가 너무 조급해하는 게 보였었어.
그 활동 덕분에 제가 얼마나 부족한 사람인지 더 느낄 수 있었어서 앞으로 더 좋은 모습을 보일 수 있게 노력할 예정입니다.
Okay, I'll bite on that. What do you want to improve when you already had these big singles right out of the box? What needs to be improved?
우선 노래를 더 잘하고 싶어요. 노래를 너무 더 잘 해보고 싶고 연습을 더 많이 배우고 연습하고 해서 잘하고 싶고 그리고 잘 만들어 보고 싶어요. 그리고 좋은 컨셉의 좋은 앨범을 만들고 싶고 네, 크게 단 것 같아요. 좋은 곡을 만들어서 좋은 노래를 불러주는 게 저희 직업의 일이니까 네.
As of now, these are Jimin's official music credits by Korea Music Copyright Association. Outside of this association, BMI has also credited Jimin as a songwriter and a composer of Dream Glow, the song that was actually planned to be a Jimin solo song. But there are also a lot of instances where Jimin isn't officially credited, like for the melody of Blood, Sweat and Tears.
많이 들고 와서 이제 가르쳐주고 하면 참 많이 배우겠다 싶어서 네, 써주시면 좋을 것 같아서 그냥 써봤어요.
야 좋다. 지민이는 목소리가 되게 좋아요.
맞아요. 매력적이죠. 지민이도 멜로디 잘 씁니다.
그러니까
빗담에서 그 멜로디 짜는 거 좋아요.
좋아.
Outside of official credits, Jimin's actual first song that he wrote was Christmas Day. The original song is Mistletoe by Justin Bieber. Jimin wrote new Korean lyrics and recorded the new Korean version together as a duet with JK.
이번 크리스마스 송은 내가 직접 가사를 다 써서 올리는 거라 좋은 반응이 있을지 잘 모르겠다. 처음으로 이 가사를 써봤는데 그래서 이렇게 어려운 일을 솔직히 형들은 마음만 먹고 쓰면 하루에도 한 3-4곡씩은 쓸 수 있다고 들었는데 그렇게 쭉 해오고 있었고 어떻게 하는지 잘 모르겠다.
나는 이 한 곡 쓰는데 3주가 걸렸는데 참 우리 형들은 대단한 것 같다.
He also made the first guide for the August D. Jimin live collab version of Tony Montana. There is also a demo tape for Fake Love that Jimin made.
들어보시죠.
Under BTS name, Jimin together with JK also collaborated with singer Love in a song Who. On the album B, where all of the BTS members were included in the production, Jimin took on the role of music project manager.
이제 제가 지금 PM으로서 할 수 있는 일이 멤버들이 어떻게 작업을 하고 싶은지, 어떤 내용으로 하고 싶은지, 몇 곡을 하고 싶은지, 어떤 스타일의 곡을 하고 싶은지, 구성은 어떻게 하고 싶은지, 어떤 멤버가 잘 어울릴 것 같은지, 이런 내용들을 정리해서 같이 가볍게 미팅을 한번 진행을 했었어요, 얼마 전에. 그래서 그때 나눴던 이야기들을 정리를 하러 나왔고, 표현을 좀 이렇게 쓰고 있는 중이었습니다. 네, 쓰고 있는 중이었고, 지금은 이제 멤버들이랑 했던 일련들은 다 정리를 한 상황이고요. 이제 멤버들이 추가적으로 의견 준 게 있어서
아니 그냥 좀 구체적으로 구체화를 하나씩 시켜서 좀 있으면 지민이가 한 게 많네. 넣고 싶은 곡이나 그런 거 있다 그러면
뭐 아니면 곡을 아예 보는 그런
스타일이나 거기서 이제 지민이가 사라져 시켜봐.
그리고 이제 내가 얘기한 것처럼 이제 제 생각에는요. 회사 얘기하는 건데 나는 전송 너에게 전송.
멤버들이 얘기를
잘 안 하더라고요.
제가 생각을 안 돼. 적었다. 그리고 비트 좀 써왔어요. 이러면서
Thanks to Jimin's good ear for melodies and straightforwardness, he helped BTS get their first entry on the Billboard Hot 100 chart. In their Beyond the Story book, Jimin is noted for having a keen ear and providing crucial input regarding the melody of DNA, with him straight up saying he doesn't like the original melody that Bang PD made, and suggesting changes that helped shape the final, successful version of the song. In BTS' first comeback after the military with the album Arirang, Jimin had lyricist credits on the song Into the Sun, and lyricist, composer, background vocal credits on the song They Don't Know About Us. In their album commentary video, it was mentioned that Jimin worked on Into the Sun outro, and basically, on the whole, They Don't Know About Us song, in which right from the start you can feel the influence from his solo songs. He's an idea bank and throws out random sounds and melodies that producers immediately want to incorporate in their work. We saw this when Jimin worked on his solo music.
벌써 이렇게 들어가는 거 어떠냐고. 다시 한번 보죠.
뭐라 좋게 들리던데?
누군가가 아이디어를 던졌을 때 좋다고 싶으면은 바로 캐치하게 되더라고. 근데 우연히 내가 하고 있는데 뒤에서 네가 찾게 흥얼거렸는데 이게 이거 뭔가 좀 귀에 걸린다 이런 느낌 들어가지고 바로 그냥.
One of the moments that sticks out for me is when we made Into the Sun. I got there kind of late, and it was Tyler Johnson playing guitar, and it was just Jimin. And Tyler Johnson is very unique. You know, he just did Harry Styles, but he's also kind of like indie. Comes from everywhere from the Jeff Basker world. And he was playing this guitar line, and then Jimin was just like singing with this weird distortion on, and we're just like, this is perfect. This is kind of like a hook. And then we just tracked that, and then me and Tizo and Cayenne and Jimin and Dee kind of worked on this idea, like what can the song be about, and then that's probably the fastest song that happened. It was like in 20 minutes.
A Spanish producer, El Guincho, who worked on Arirang album, shared with Rolling Stone, Jimin would sit in silence for 30 minutes, taking in producers' thoughts, then jump in with a perfect take that incorporated all of the feedback. Producer P-Dog for Clash magazine about Jimin. When working with Jimin, I'm always attuned to how Jimin feels. Jimin always puts much thought into the stories or emotions he wants to convey. While collaborating with global producers such as John Bellion, Arcade, Tommy Brown, and others, Jimin directly explained to them what he wanted to convey and the direction he wanted to take for this album and each song.
When I listen to to your solo music, Be Mine or Who, I hear your background as a dancer. It's funny, but I feel like it plays into the rhythms that you choose and the way that you sing. And I wonder if you see that as well, that interplay.
아무래도 같이 작업을 해주신 PD님들도 그렇고, 이 노래는 너가 춤추기 너무 좋겠는데 이런 생각들을 하면서 만들었긴 했었어요. 특히 비마인이라는 곡은 원래 어떤 춤을 만들어서 좀 팬분들한테 보여드리고 하고 싶었는데 이제 군대를 들어가야 되는 상황이라 이게 쉽지 않은 시간들이었던 것 같아요.
While working on the BTS album, Arirang Jimin also got a lot of inspiration to work on his solo music. I received a lot of new inspiration and influence while working on the group album this time. I want to make better music with my own hands in the future. I don't know what direction it will be, but I hope you can look forward to it. In an interview, Jimin has said, "I'm a singer, but I'm also a listener, and I receive positive energy and comfort from music. Just like other artists' music has affected how I think and given me strength, I hope people can feel what I feel and resonate with my music. That's what drives me to keep making music." Under the group's name, Jimin's first solo song, Lie, in which Jimin was credited as a songwriter and a composer, at the time was the only solo song from Wings' album to rank on Inkigayo chart. It was highest-ranking solo song on Melon Music chart. It was also the only solo song and B-side that charted Spotify Global Viral 50. Also, while Blood, Sweat and Tears ranked #1 on World Digital Song Sales chart. Lie ranked #3 and became the best-selling solo song in Wings' album. Jimin's second solo song under BTS was Serendipity, which was released in 2 parts, intro and full. Even if it had the disadvantage of having 2 parts, Serendipity was still the very first BTS solo song to debut on Spotify USA back in 2017. Filter was Jimin's third solo song under BTS name, as stated by RM. Even though there are no credits, Jimin did participate in the song's writing.
제가 전혀 사실 참여하진 않았고 지민이가 가이드하고 이렇게 막 계속 들으면서 연습하는 것만 좀.
지민님 무대를 통해서 필터가 이제 드디어 비로소 진정한 완성이 된 느낌? 지민님은 되게 미성이시잖아요. 근데 가이드는 조금 성숙한 느낌이었었거든요. 그래서 우리는 이걸 그러면 상큼 섹시로 조금 가보자.
필터라는 곡을 가지고 나오게 됐는데요. 필터라는 게 뭐 카메라 어플리케이션이라든지 뭐 SNS 필터 외에 이제 사람들이 보는 시선이나 뭐 색안경 등의 다양한 의미로 해석을 해서 이 곡에서 제가 다양한 모습으로 사람들에게 보여주고 싶다라는 마음을 표현한 곡이라고 생각하시면 될 것 같고요. 이전에 보여드렸던 세렌디피티라든지 라이와는 굉장히 다른 모습의 저를 보실 수 있지 않을까 싶습니다. 많이 기대해 주시죠. 그래서
When the Mott's album was released, Filter actually was competing with the title track on various charts before the company took Filter down. Filter is also the first BTS solo song to be nominated for the Song of the Year at the Gaon Music Awards. Filter also gave BTS their first and only all-kill on iTunes, reaching #1 in every available region. From the same album as Filter, the song Friends was a unit song Jimin sang with V of BTS. This song was written, composed, and produced by Jimin as it was meant to be a solo song first. With a touch of Jimin's magical hands, this was the only song produced by a BTS member to be nominated for Song of the Year at Gaon Awards. This made Jimin the only BTS member to have 2 songs nominated for this award in 2020.
태영이랑 같이 부르게 된 곡이에요.
네, 제가 진짜 좋아하죠.
그리고 제가 처음으로 또 작업에 참여를 해서 하게 됐는데 자세한 설명은 나중에 이제 뭐 V 라이브라든지 그런 곳에서 이제 설명을 하도록 하겠습니다. 네, 이게 처음이라서 떨리기도 하고 또 DC가 굉장히 또 잘 불러주고 해서 굉장히 좋은 곡이 나왔으니까요. 기대 많이 해주셨으면.
아니 그래도 우리 지민 씨가 되게 멜로디 라인을 되게 잘 짜서 이제 부를 때도 되게 약간 통쾌한 그런 멜로디인 것 같아요.
맞아요. 뭔가 되게 그 친구와 잘 어울리는 그 친구란 단어와 잘 어울리는 그런 멜로디예요.
맞아요.
곡 스타일
진짜 친구잖아.
그러니까요.
이 작업 비하인드는 나중에 꼭 풀어주시길 바랍니다.
지민 씨가 먼저 저한테 얘기해줬죠.
아니 이제 사실 제 곡에 앨범에 들어가게 될지도 몰랐고 그렇게 이제 피디님과 상의 끝에 이런 뭔가 되게 귀여워 보이는 노래가 나왔기 때문에 태영 씨와 저와의 이런 뭔가 옛날부터 지금까지의 이런 이야기를 담은 노래가 하나도 없었기에 같이 해보는 게 어떤 이런 얘기가 나오게 돼서 같이 하게 됐는데 태영 씨가 너무 재밌고 멋있게 잘 불러주셨잖아요.
그 조합이 되게 뭔가 어떻게 보면 되게 뻔할 수도 있는데 친구끼리 하는 거라서 그 이야기 주제가 저는 되게 신박하고 되게 좋았었던 것 같아요.
With this song, Jimin was the first individual Korean idol to be credited for a Korean OST in a global Hollywood movie, as the song Friends was chosen as one of the OSTs in the Marvel movie Eternals.
수많은 약속과 추억들보다 오래
이거밖에 모르겠다.
This song that he has produced and all of his solo songs under BTS are in the Rolling Stone list of the 100 best BTS songs. Under his own name, the song Promise was the first gift from Jimin to the fans. A surprise drop uploaded on SoundCloud broke the first 24-hour release record with 8.5 million streams, breaking at the time Drake's 24-hour record. As of right now, Promise is in the Guinness World Record book as the most streamed song in SoundCloud history and in the first 24 hours.
노래를 처음 쓸 때 약속이라는 곡을 쓸 때 내가 그랬었지, 난 그랬었던 거야 이렇게 생각을 하면서 이제 쓰기 시작했었는데 형은 이제 3인칭으로 만들자.
그게 전수가 됐어요.
여기 나를 한 명 더 만들고 야 너 지금 내가 나한테 뭐라고 하는 거죠. 야 너 지금 어떻게 해? 지금 웃었으면 좋겠고 지금 너가 느끼는 모든 것들이 다 온전히 너였으면 좋겠고 받아들였으면 좋겠고 이런 얘기들을 하는 게 어때라고 얘기하는 게 되게 큰
그 화자를
청자를
이렇게 만들어가지고
둘 다 난데
그렇게
그래서 이제 지금 안 되겠다. 빨리 이거 어떻게 해보자.
그리고 가사 만들고 사비를 다시 만들고
또 만들고 또 고치고 네가
그 과정에 나도 있었는데 내가 볼 때는 이 멜로디가 수십까지 가는 거였어.
근데 멜로디
한 60개 나왔을 거예요.
결국 거의 처음으로 돌아왔잖아.
거의 대부분이 처음 거죠.
자, 이 대한민국 아니지 세계 음악계에는 세 가지의 핸드 사인이 있습니다. 첫 번째 우텐 클랜의 사인, 그리고 제이제의 락네이션의 다이아몬드 사인, 그리고 2018년 12월 30일 공개된 박진의 약속 사인.
In 2022, we officially got soloist Jimin with a song under his own name. In collaboration with his best friend Ha Sung-won, they sang the main OST With You for K-drama Our Blues. With You broke the record for the fastest song in history to reach #1 in 100 countries on iTunes. Jimin did it in only 4 hours, breaking the previous record held by Dynamite. With You was also nominated in 3 major Korean award shows in the Best OST category. It was also nominated for Song of the Year at the 2022 Mama Awards. With You was the 10th most streamed K-pop song globally on Spotify, and the second on Spotify South Korea that year. This made Jimin the 7th most streamed K-pop male solo artist globally, with only 1 song and with the shortest streaming period.
감성적이긴 한 것 같아. 제 주변에 다정한 사람이 있어요. 지민이라는 친구가 진짜 다정한데 보면서 좀 배워요. 막 배우게 되더라고요. 뭐 사소한 거 하나.
Right before Jimin's official solo debut in 2023, we got his second collaboration, this time with the Big Bang member Taeyang. The song Vibe was highly anticipated. Fans and the general public in Korea were talking about it, so even before it came out, it managed to have the highest debut on the Billboard Hot Trending Songs daily and weekly chart. Jimin also participated in co-composing this song, which gave the song that much more of a good luck. Vibe debuted on the Billboard Hot 100 at 76. This was Jimin's and Taeyang's first time debuting on this chart under their own names. This was also Jimin's first time debuting on this chart as a composer. Vibe also had the highest debut on Melon Daily chart by a BTS member since the chart reform.
훌륭했어요. 그래서 진짜 바이브라는 그 테마와 너무 잘 맞게 어떻게 보면은 저랑 굉장히 비슷한 생각들을 하고 또 굉장히 비슷한 결이 많다라는 걸 제가 이렇게 느낀 것 같아요. 저보다도 훨씬 더 열정적이고 그리고 그 열정을 보면서 저도 자극을 너무 많이 받았고요. 그래서 이번 작업을 같이 하면서 제가 사실 배운 게 너무 많습니다. 오랜만에 이런 걸 본 것 같아서 너무 좋았던 것 같아요.
그런 것 같습니다. 이렇게 라이브를 부르고 잘할 수 있는 우리 노배우님 목소리를 능력으로 들을 수 있는 사람이 몇이나 있을까? 우리 지민이 목소리를 인력을 가까이 들을 수 있는 사람이 고막에서 댄스를 추는 거예요. 고막에서 그냥 버터가 넣는 거죠. 그렇게 귀를 확인하게 멘트로 진 것 같습니다.
In the middle of his successful solo debut, Jimin also did a small feature in a song for Fast and Furious 10 called Angel Part 1, and later Angel Part 2, which makes him the only Korean soloist to have 2 OSTs featured in Hollywood movies, Friends and Angel Part 1.
BTS가 지난 연도 단체 활동 중단을 선언한 이후로 K-팝 시장이 약간 주춤한 것은
주춤하는 것 같은 그러한 느낌이 들고 있습니다. 이번에 이 BTS 출신 지민의 솔로 활동으로도 K-팝의 인기 명맥이 유지가 될 것 같습니까?
네. 지난까지 이제 BTS의 활동이 주춤하다. 그리고 또 K-팝은 어떻게 될 것인가. 이런 우려 목소리가 좀 높아지고 있죠.
네.
평생 그 미소년의 그룹으로 평생 남을 수가 있는 건 아니기 때문에 그렇죠.
네.
만약에 이번 솔로 발표를 하는 지민이 큰 성공을 거두게 된다면 아마 지민 개인의 영예를 넘어서서 K-팝의 새로운 모델 가능성에 대한 평가도 될 것 같아서 다시 한번 K-팝을 주목하게 되는 그런 계기가 되지 않을까 싶습니다.
In Chapter 2, before enlisting in the military, Jimin worked on 2 solo mini-albums simultaneously. Jimin was heavily involved in the production and, of course, the overall vision. He worked together with 3 in-house producers and documented it in his album-making documentary, Jimin's Production Diary. He first released the album Face. Face consists of 6 songs. Jimin was credited as a writer on 5 of the 6 tracks and the hidden track. He also had guitar and keyboard credits on 2 songs. And just like any other Jimin music, this album performed extremely well. The pre-release single Set Me Free set the record as the biggest 2023 solo song debut by a K-pop act on Melon. After 10 years, this was also the highest debut song by a K-soloist on the UK Big Top 40 chart. This song also had a major success in Japan as Jimin became the first Korean soloist to reach number 1 on both weekly and daily Oricon singles chart. No other Korean soloist has achieved this since this chart was first established in 1968. Set Me Free also debuted at number 30 on Billboard's Hot 100 chart. He joined Psy as the only Korean soloist to chart a solo song within the top 30. When the main track, Like Crazy, was released, at the time it broke the record for the biggest debut for a solo song by a K-pop act in Spotify global history. It was also the highest charting song by a K-pop soloist in Spotify US. Jimin also made history when he was the first Korean soloist and second Asian soloist to chart number 1 on Spotify's global song chart. He joined groups BTS and Blackpink as the only Koreans to do it. Jimin is still the first and only Korean soloist to reach number 1 on the Billboard's Artist 100 chart. Jimin, of course, also made history when Like Crazy debuted on the Billboard Hot 100 chart at number 1. He was the very first Asian soloist to debut straight at number 1. And what a big deal this was. After 65 years, a Korean soloist managed to top the chart once again. This also shook the whole Korean music industry. Not only Hybe saw a sudden, big jump in their stock prices, but also other idol companies finally saw an upward-going trend. Now, Like Crazy has sold 2 million units in the US. It's the first K-soloist solo song to achieve this feat in the past decade. It's eligible for double platinum RIA certification. Jimin's Like Crazy remains the single with the biggest pure sales debut week in the US by male solo artists this decade. Like Crazy is the most streamed non-English song released in 2023 on Spotify. With Like Crazy, Jimin was also the first Korean soloist to have a song reach 1 billion streams. With Jimin's first solo album, Face, there was a lot of pushback from the industry and his label. While Jimin was the first solo artist to reach 1 million first-day album sales on the Hanteo chart and the Circle chart, it's important to mention that the chart froze after 5 hours, when Jimin already had 1.7 million sales. Everyone was predicting that he would actually be the first and fastest solo artist to reach 2 million sales. But unfortunately, when the chart finally unfroze at the end of the first tracking day, they had mysteriously deleted more than 770,000 sales, making him barely surpass the 1 million mark. But Jimin's fans were once again correct to call them out. Hanteo corrected their numbers the next year. According to their new stats, Jimin had 2.16 million sales on Hanteo in 2023, keeping in mind that a lot of sales are still missing. But with this update, Jimin is the first Korean soloist to reach 1 million and 2 million sales in the first day. This miscounting of album sales could have affected year-end awards also. Face album was also the highest charting album by a Korean soloist in Billboard 200 history. All songs from the Face album have also sold over 100,000 units each in the US. In 2023, Face album recorded the most retail album sales on Circle Chart's retail album chart since this was created in 2019. This made Face the best-selling album by a soloist in this chart's history. Jimin's Face retail album sales ratio was 87.82%, the closest to unity of all albums in the top 10 of the Circle retail album chart. In other words, Jimin's album had the smallest difference between shipments of albums and actual sales, making him the actual best-selling Korean soloist. After this, Hybe's 2023 first quarter operating profit increased by 41.5% to 52.5 billion won. Jimin was highlighted as one of the biggest contributors. After Jimin had already enlisted in the military, he surprised fans with his second solo album called Muse. The pre-release single Smeraldo Garden Marching Band which features the South Korean rapper Loco, also brought Jimin many new achievements in countries like China, Korea, Japan, UK, and USA. At the time, it had the biggest debuts on various music charts like Spotify, Tidal, and Pandora. It was the best-selling song on QQ Music in China and Oricon Daily Digital Singles Chart in Japan. It also had the highest debut by a Korean act on Spotify US in 2024, a chart that is hard to reach even for Korean groups, not just soloists. This song also gave Loco his first ever entry on Billboard 100. The album's lead single, Who, is Jimin's first solo song to top the Billboard Global 200, debuting with 90.5 million streams and 129,000 copies sold worldwide in its initial week, at that time making it the biggest pure sales week of 2024. On its release day and week, Who obviously made new streaming debut records, like having the biggest solo song debut on Spotify Global, with 7.9 million filtered streams surpassing his own record with Like Crazy, or Who becoming the first solo song by a K-pop artist to spend multiple days at #1 on Spotify Global Chart. Who was the first solo song by a Korean act to top the US Spotify chart. It also had the biggest debut and streaming days on Spotify UK, Spotify Japan, and Spotify South Korea, surpassing his previous peak with Like Crazy. Ever since then, Who has been reaching new achievements and milestones. Who has sold 400,000 units in the UK and has been certified gold. In the US, it has already sold over 5 million units, making it the most downloaded song in 2024 and the best-selling song in 2025. On Spotify US, it was also the most streamed song by a Korean act in 2024. Overall, it is the #1 most streamed solo song by a Korean act on Spotify and the fastest to reach 1 billion streams. Who is also the first and only solo song by a Korean artist to spend 500 days on Spotify Global, USA, and South Korea. It is also the longest charting solo song by a Korean artist on Apple Music Global Chart and Billboard Global Charts. On the Billboard Hot 100 chart, Jimin's Who debuted at number 14. It became the highest charting K-pop solo song of 2024 and Jimin's second highest charting single as a soloist. On week 2, Who had a new peak position at number 12 on the Hot 100 chart. This made it the first K-soloist song to reach a new peak in its second week of release this decade. First and only solo song to peak higher than debut position this decade. After the first year, Who successfully appeared in multiple year-end charts in 2024 and 2025, like Spotify Wrapped, Apple Music year-end chart, Billboard year-end charts, US Hits Song Revenue Chart, and UK Big Top 40 year-end chart. Jimin was also the first and only K-soloist to appear in Spotify Wrapped city charts with Who and Like Crazy. This shuts down any doubts about its success in the USA cities. In its debut year on Spotify, Who earned $8.16 million. While others try to criticize him and his fans for being one of the artists whose streams are being deleted by Spotify every month, Jimin actually earns more money because he doesn't pay for Spotify's playlisting or to be pushed on more consumers. Even if the music platform tries to punish him for it, he stays winning. At the time of its release, the album Muse broke the record for the biggest first-day sales for a Korean soloist on Hunteo in 2024. Muse ended its first day on the Hunteo chart with 731,114 copies sold. This was after this chart froze only for Jimin for 6 hours. In those 6 hours, they only added around 1,000 sales. Something similar with his sales being deleted already happened with his Face album. Let's see if they will fix it a year or two later. Just like the lead single Who, the album was also successful. Muse debuted at number 2 on Billboard 200 with 96,000 units, making Jimin the first Korean soloist to have multiple number 2 albums in history. It also ties as the highest charting album by a K-pop soloist in Billboard 200 history. Right now, Muse has now sold over 500,000 total units in the US. Jimin becomes the first and only Korean soloist to have 2 albums eligible for RIAA Gold certificate. Right now, Muse is also the most streamed album by a K-pop soloist in US Spotify history. It also became the first album by a K-soloist to spend a full year on Spotify US Weekly Albums chart, 52 weeks. Muse remains the longest charting album by an Asian soloist on the Billboard 200 chart. It also extends its record as the longest charting K-soloist album on Billboard World Albums charts history, ranking number 1 on the Billboard 2025 year-end World Albums chart. The album maintained its presence for 2 consecutive years. Muse has surpassed 6 million units of equivalent album sales worldwide. It is the first and only Korean album by a soloist to achieve this in history. Jimin also has multiple records and achievements as an artist, like charting multiple songs in the year-end charts and being the only K-soloist on these charts. On the Billboard Artist 100 chart, he is the longest-running K-soloist, with the longest charting albums and songs on the Billboard 200, Billboard 100, and Billboard's streaming songs charts. He is also the most streamed Korean artist with the most streamed song and album on the Spotify US and Spotify South Korea chart. Jimin now represents 65% of the total streams in the top 10 most streamed songs in the history of Spotify South Korea, solidifying his status as the highest performing artist of all time on the platform. Jimin is the first and only K-pop soloist since Psy to earn over 1 billion on-demand streams as a lead artist in the US, and the fastest to achieve this, despite never having been promoted in the country. Although he never received massive promotion, Jimin with $2.4 million became the artist responsible for the third highest US streaming revenue in HYBE's history. As for award shows, Jimin's achievements with his solo songs and albums has gifted him with multiple award nominations, where he once again is the first Korean soloist being nominated in various categories. And he has won awards like the Best Male Artist, Best Song, or Artist of the Year in different award shows. And even with awards, he has made new records, such as winning the Daesung Award at the Mama 2024 Awards, the first K-pop soloist to win since 2014, or winning the Idol Plus Popularity Award at the Fact Music Awards 2023, the first and only soloist to win this award, or winning the K-pop Song of the Year at the 2025 iHeartRadio Awards, the first K-pop soloist in history to win the category. In 2023, Jimin also got some official Guinness World Records. Jimin's Like Crazy was recognized as one of the most performed songs of the year at the 2024 BMI London Awards. It's among the songs that received the most performances on terrestrial radio, satellite radio, and digital streaming services over the past year. Like Crazy is the first song performed by a K-pop soloist to ever be honored in the BMI London Awards. It stands alongside BTS's Dynamite as the only songs by K-pop acts to achieve this. Jimin's Like Crazy and Who both have been awarded as the most performed songs of the year at the BMI Pop Awards 2025 in LA. Additionally, both of Jimin's songs were the only K-pop songs under Universal to be named Publisher of the Year.